Here we go. Back with you here at Coach 'em Up Dre, the hottest sports podcast in Southwest Florida. I'm your host, your favorite coach, Coach Dre Powell, and I'm here to just do a quick update on some of the movement of some of the best high school football coaches here in the area. And I got to start with my last video. I talked about Coach Ghost over there at St. John Newman doesn't miss, and he was going after Laley's coach, their offensive coordinator, Coach Tim Thornton, aka Tony Stark. Lo and behold, Tony Stark was out there looking and interviewing with several different jobs here in Naples as well as up in Fort Myers. And what happened? He hooks up with a perennial powerhouse and stable full of athletes there in Fort Myers, and that is the Dunbar High School football program. Coach Sam Brown uh, got some traded some messages with Coach Story to say how'd you end up, with Dunbar, Coach? And he said he absolutely loved Coach Sam Brown. First thing he said is he loves his commitment level, loves the commitment level of the program, players, coaches, just the infrastructure there, and he just obviously the structure. He said he loved the structure. He said, Coach Powell, I really think we have a chance to be really, really good up there. And I see why, looking at the returning roster, started with Mr. Andre Moss, 6-foot wide receiver, about 194, 195 pounds. All Mr. Moss did was, and let me tell you this, anybody that has the first name of Andre right out the gate, he's a player. Anybody by the name of Andre, first name Andre, you best believe he elite. Okay, I digress. Just have a preference for saying that. But Mr. Moss, 17 total touchdowns, 13 by reception. Okay, he had over 800 yards receiving, another 400 plus in kick return yardage. So he racked up 3 kickoff return touchdowns, and he had another touchdown on the ground. So Mr. Moss is a playmaker, and he is a rising senior. So when Coach Thornton sees he has that returning, and then he looks at the quarterback that threw those touchdowns to Mr. Moss, Mr. Brandon Seabrook, who is about a 5'10", 5'11" quarterback that is a nice athlete. He threw for 20 total touchdowns and only 6 interceptions, but he put up over 1,800 yards in passing, and he rushed for another couple of hundred yards. So he put up over 2,000 yards total offense. So if Coach Thornton sees he has those 2 playmakers returning, and then they have a junior running back that averaged 10, almost 11 yards per carry returning, he has 3 players right there, as well as he has some incredible size up front. A lot of these young men are underclassmen, sophomore, juniors that are on the offensive line. And Coach Thornton always also told me that he was excited that he was allowed to bring his offensive line coach, Coach Frank T. Everybody that knows around here knows that Coach Frank T is one of the premier offensive line coaches, and he did his thing over there lately the past couple of years. Prior to that, he spent time over at Barron Collier. Seems like everywhere Coach Frank goes, aka Dr. Banner goes, so goes an incredible running game. So I look for Dunbar to continue to be able to run the ball. They have athletes. There's no question about Dunbar and the legacy that they have there. They have track speed on both sides of the balls, and they also seem to always find some dogs up front. Their offensive and defensive line, and then their linebackers, their running backs run hard. Linebackers are tenacious, like to hit. It's just a tough team full of grit. You just have football players. Dunbar fields football players. And I see why Coach Thornton is excited to be a part of that, especially under the leadership of Coach Sam Brown up there. So it's a great fit. To me, from the outside looking in, it just looks like a much better Lady football team as far as athletes, because they're going to have athletes on the defensive side. So when Coach Thornton is scoring points on offense, he's probably going to have a much better defense that can get him some stops, which should lead to some higher success for Dunbar this year. 7-4, down year for Dunbar. Dunbar, they went 0-4, I believe, 0-3 in the district. That just isn't a Dunbar team. Started off 4-0, just didn't finish with a good campaign. Not the type of Dunbar team that you're going to traditionally see take the field. But that's where Coach Thornton is. That's where Coach Frank is. So those two guys leave Lady and go up I-75 and join mighty Dunbar High School football team. Just a quick story. I'm telling you, Dunbar is an interesting place, man. I remember a few years back, there was some interest in going up to Dunbar on my side, man. My son was playing summer basketball a couple of years ago with some of the guys at the Dunbar High School. He played for one of their summer travel basketball teams. And there was some interest there, on their part, to try to get my boy up there because game recognizes game. So salute to Coach Brown, salute to Dunbar, salute to you, Coach Thornton, Coach Frank. I know you guys are going to do some great things. So now I gotta even be paying close attention to what goes on up at Dunbar this year because of some of the coaches that I'm fond of joining that staff up there and getting a chance to coach some of the best athletes in all of Southwest Florida. So that's the update on where Coach Thornton ended up, a.k.a. Tony Stark, better known as Iron Man. I can't believe he's going to be able to cook up some madness, with the type of athletes that Dunbar traditionally fields. And Frank is going to be right there beside him, handling the offensive line duty and just giving Brandon Seabrook and all the other weaponry up there all the time in the world to score some points. So that's the update on where Coach Thornton is going. I can't believe Laley still hasn't named the head coach. I can't believe they allowed those two guys to leave the building. I don't know what's going on that Laley. I guess sometime soon they will be announcing a head coach, but it seems to be very quiet. And I've been reaching out to all my sources to trying to figure out where are they leaning, but I have not been able to ascertain anything in that regards. And it's eerily similar to where they were this time about 3 years ago before Coach Hammer took the job. When JJ left the building, just very eerily similar before they were able to get Coach Hammer and his guys and crews established down here. So unfortunately, Laney is taking a step back, but who knows? They may get a coach that's on par with Coach Hammer, who's able to build upon his success. And, the cupboard isn't bare over there. At least it isn't for right now until a couple more of those players decide to exit stage left. All right. Now, let me talk about one of my favorite coaches around here. Wherever you hear this coach's name, there tends to be talk. Okay. There tends to be talk whenever you mention this guy's name. And you don't even have to say his full name. You just need to say 2 letters, PJ. Coach PJ. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Coach PJ Gibbs, surprisingly, has departed Community School of Naples. And I reached out to Coach Gibbs to get some information, some insight on why he left the building over there, why he departed that program after being over there for a couple of years and helping the defense, being a part of a team that had its record-setting campaign last fall. I reached out to PJ, and PJ, as it all broke yesterday, is now the defensive coordinator up at First Baptist Academy, that school that sits on Orange Blossom and Livingston Road. Hey, it's just a small car ride or e-bike away from community school. So, that's like Pitt in West Virginia, man, that little backyard brawl. So with PJ going from community school over to First Baptist, I think it just upped the intensity of this rivalry because First Baptist, bringing in PJ Gibbs, has brought in a certified madman to call their defense. It's just what First Baptist needed. First Baptist hit rock bottom last year. Let's be honest. I didn't do any talking about First Baptist Academy because, hey, why do you talk about somebody that's, on life support? You just see if they can overcome, see if they can find the will to live, see if they can find the will to fight. And hey, led by Coach Jason Cawley, hey, They're doing more than just surviving. They are on the rise, okay? The pride is back with those pack of lions, okay? Those lions are coming back, and his biggest coaching hire today, Coach Carley, has brought in PJ Gibbs. If you have been around Naples and Collier County in Southwest Florida football, you know the name PJ Gibbs. PJ Gibbs, I'm going to say this right now. He has the two biggest wins against Naples High School of any coach, assistant coach, or any head coach that has coached for a Collier County public school high school football team. PJ Gibbs was a defensive madman that designed the team that beat Naples High School in the 2020 season, dominated Naples during that COVID year. I believe they turned Naples over 8 times. It was the opening game of the season. And when they beat Naples, they were out the gate. They proved they were the best team in the county. They left no doubt. And you know why? Because they had a group of kids that believed, but more importantly, they had a coaching staff. And on the defensive side, they had PJ Gibbs masterminding an incredible game plan. And you know what else? That wasn't a one-hit wonder, because back in 2023, who was the defensive coordinator who took a Golden Gate Titan defense into the belly of the beast over there on Golden Gate Parkway? It was PJ Gibbs. And those Golden Gate Titans that held the Naples High School Golden Eagles to their lowest offensive production ever. Okay, I repeat, PJ Gibbs' defense in 2023 went to the Naples High School turf, and they planted their flag, and they burned down the building. They knocked out 4-star running back Sean Simeon. They just harassed the Golden Eagles all night long and walked out of there with a huge win. The first win, and as it stands right now, 2 years later, the only win in Golden Gate High School history against the Naples Golden Eagles. So it's not a coincidence that PJ Gibbs goes, designs defenses. He likes that 3-high safety look. You know, he's a master of the trap coverage. He's the master of the disguise, but you don't know. You will know this. He loves the term havoc. He lives by havoc, and that's what he likes to create on Friday nights with his defense. Nobody's going to stay up longer. Nobody's going to out-scheme Coach PJ Gibbs, and he is now up there with the First Baptist Academy Lions. And this is what PJ said. PJ said, he told me, he said, hey, man, he said, Coach Powell, this is the best move for my family. Okay, absolutely. The best move for my family, which he's a family guy, you know, married, 2 kids. Coach Peyton is his daughter, and he has a son, you know, that he loves to death. He's out there playing some flag football. And I believe he's going to be playing some tackle football for the first time this spring. So he's all about football. His family's about football. So it doesn't surprise me that he tells me he made the move for that reason. Best move for his family. Other thing he told me was, he said he just loves being a play caller. He said the opportunities to get back to calling a defense and being the guy and to be part of a defense that is his personality, has his identity of an attacking, aggressive, and again, I'm going to say this word again, a havoc-creating force, it was just too enticing to turn down. So that's the other reason why he said he had to take this job, you know, when it was presented to him. And again, he looks at this as an opportunity to build the character and help work with a group of new student athletes and impact their lives on a positive level. So he's telling me these different types of things, man, and I know PJ is just very excited to get the ball rolling. He's familiar with Coach Causey and the athletic director of athletic ministries. You know, that's the title that Mr. Mark Hertzlich has over there at the academy. So he has a familiarity with the coach and the director of athletic ministries. So all these things were just a convergence of reasons why he wanted to take this job. And you know what? I think FBA made the biggest hire of the off season. Okay, I'm gonna repeat. FBA, because of what they needed now, okay? Because of what they needed, what they were lacking, okay? They are building on the offensive side because the head coach, Coach Cauley, he is an offensive coach, okay? So his identity, his stance is on the offensive side, okay? But there's three phases. You know, you got to kick the ball, you got to cover kicks, you know, you got the teams, okay? You got to play three phases. So teams is one of that. Offense, obviously, is another phase. Coach Cauley has that covered, man. The man's going to throw the ball. He's going to get a lot of yards, and he's going to get a lot of points on that side. But the third phase, he needed a guy that could come and solidify that third phase of his football team. And he could not have struck gold any more than hiring Coach PJ Gibbs, in my opinion. Okay, as someone that's seen it up close and personal, seen how he's impacted and developed so many of the great young defensive players out of Southwest Florida. I think this is a tremendous get for First Baptist Academy. So it's going to be exciting, you know, to see PJ out there and First Baptist and see what type of defense, see what type of football program they are going to be in year two of Coach Jason Colley's tenure. So let's just see what those lines are going to be about this spring when they take the field. Are they going to be bigger, stronger, and more importantly, will they be a nastier, a more aggressive team? Because they got their faces pounded in last year as they were struggling just to figure out and field a football team. But now Coach Cauley has been there. Now he's hiring other guys, and I'm hearing they're talking to some other great coaches. So quiet is kept. Quiet is kept. FBA might be building one of the best staffs around the Southwest Florida area. So that's left to be determined. But when I hear about some of the coaches that have already left, and I said this in the last video, you know, there's been some shakeup, and I heard some coaches were out of the building at community school. Coaches that I know left over there, some of these coaches that are leaving other programs, FBA is building something pretty good, pretty solid. I don't know what that's going to mean as far as wins and losses. We got to see how that all shakes out, you know, down the line. But as far as coaches, they got a good one there in Coach PJ Gibbs. Now, what else am I hearing? I'm hearing Immokalee might be bringing in somebody that I'm very fond of. So we'll wait to see when that gets announced. I'm not going to say that coach's name. I did reach out to him, and he did say something to me. So I'll let him, you know, commit to when that drops out there if it does happen. If it does happen, I do like to move. You know, I'm very, very fond of that coach and what he brings to the table. Some of these other schools, again, I already mentioned Lately. We don't know what's going on lately. And community school, I can't wait to hear about how they're going to replace some of the coaches that they lost over there. But let's speak about community school a little bit, man. Quiet as it's kept, man. What I like about community school, they don't care about what anybody else is doing. You know what they're doing? They're doing more football activities for youth and high school football players on their campus. Okay, see, being the type of wealthy, affluent, private school that they are, they could do as much as they want to do with sports. Public schools can't do that, man. They just can't. And that's why I said in prior videos, man, the way this trend is going is, hey, you public schools are at jeopardy, man. You are in jeopardy of really just continue to shrink as far as your talent pool, and you're going to continue to lose it to the privates because these schools, particularly community school, these are very micro-sized college campuses, man. They're open to student athletes working out after hours, being able to work out, use the athletic fields and complexes. And, you know, you go by Saturday, Sunday, you see Coach Mastroli out there with, I don't know how many quarterbacks from around this area doing elite level training with Coach Mastroli. You got wide receivers over there having instructions with coaches over there. Running backs, they have running back drills and camps all the time. And now they're bringing in, they're having a huge coaches clinic coming up. They're having Pop Warner and youth football camps and programs over there at community school. Hey, let me tell you something. They're smart, okay? Because the more football players from youth up to high school that you can get on your campus and to see it and to work out, let me tell you something. Elite players want to train. They don't want to be restricted and told they can't get on the field because of this or, the campus is closed, you're trespassing. Elite players, they want to work. Okay, so the private schools give them the opportunity to work and improve. And you know what else these private schools do? They bring in outside experts and specialists to come and work with their athletes. They don't have no restrictions on that. They want the athletes to get better. And you know who gets excited about that? A, the players, B, the parents. And you know who gets the benefit of that? The schools. You know, they're not going to get everybody. Everybody can't come. They can't get the 20 quarterbacks that are out there or so with strolling, every other Sunday. All they need is one really good one, two really good ones, and all they need is a couple good wide receivers, a couple good running backs coming in, some DBs. They don't need everybody. They just need a few. And I'm telling you, they will have a pipeline. And so you other schools better figure this out, man. You better look at what community school is doing during the off season. And that's where you improve. All you coaches out there and all you programs, all you doing right now is you got your kids out there lifting weights and you got them doing some wind sprints and conditioning and you're hamstrung because you can't do no football related activities while, other schools are doing it because they can. Man, let me tell you something. How you gonna win that race? How you winning that race? You tell me. I don't know. But let me say this and close. A couple other things I want to share with you. Another coach, man, who I just absolutely love. Can't tell you his name. Very successful. A couple weeks ago, we just happened to bump into each other early on a Saturday morning. When we were both getting something together. He was coming. I was going from this particular area, man, and we just ended up spending about 20, 25 minutes, man, really just sharing about the state of local high school football, the different transfer talk. Man, we even talked about recruiting. It was just a really great conversation. And this particular coach, he's doing things the right way, man. I really like the fact, some of the things he shared with me, how he talks honestly and openly with his players and his parents. I really got a newfound respect just to talk to him, about how he's doing it and how his program's doing it and some of his players, just catching up about some of those guys and just really, I just got a profound respect for coaches like this. And it was just a good conversation to hear. And I know, hey, look, man, I may not get a chance to talk about all the schools and all the coaches, and I got different relationships with different coaches at this point. So, I'm just not glazing one coach over to all others because I know you coaches are doing your best for your players, for your parents. For the most part, you run a good, clean program, and you love what you do. Okay, and you're way underpaid. So I'm not just singling out coaches that I know because I'm not talking about you. I know everybody's out here doing their best. I just talk about what I see. And I just hope the publics, man, you just realize that you got to keep fighting, man. Keep pushing because it's a new day, man. The players see a pot of gold, man, at these private schools. So just keep pushing, keep fighting, keep presenting your values, keep promoting your wins, keep promoting to your kids that they can absolutely win and develop right where they are and that they will be able to find success and ultimately receive that college scholarship and the opportunity to get a free education on the next level. So I'm rooting for all you coaches out there. But I just wanted to talk briefly about some of the movement, some of the coaches out here. Shout out to a couple of parents that I heard from that have some top prospects here in the area, man. It was good to hear from you. You're telling me you're tapping into my podcast, and you guys have been reaching out to me, hit me up privately, and I even get a couple phone calls from some of you that are watching the podcast. So I appreciate you all out there. So do Coach Powell a favor. Tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend that they got to subscribe. They got to hit the like button to this podcast. See that like button below? The subscribe button is right there. It's very easy to find, hard to miss. So subscribe to the podcast, all right? And tell somebody else to tell more people that Coach Him Up, Dre, the podcast is the hottest thing in Southwest Florida. So I'm out. That's my talk. That's my updates. As far as I know to this point, with some of the coaching movements, there are other coaches on the move. I'm just not at a privy to announce yet till the ink is dry and those background checks go through. But there's a lot more coaching movement out there, and I can't wait to discuss as well as continue to talk to you about some of the fantastic players that we have out there. So that's Coach Powell, latest video. So I'm out.